Right then, let's have a look at hydration and carrying water. So I carry water in either a bottle or some form of hydration bladder, or sometimes I use both depending on the circumstances and situation. So what's the benefit of each? What's the pros and cons basically? Well, a bottle is super robust. The chances of this breaking is slim. I'm pretty sure they tested these Nalgene bottles by driving over them in a Land Rover. Absolutely bonkers. So mega robust. They've got a good opening at the top to gather water from a nice running water source such as a stream. But the downside of them is you can't just grab a hold of a tube and drink from it. You have to get it out your pack to then actually drink from it. So getting it in and out of your pack to drink from it can be, well, it can prevent you from drinking essentially, unless you stop to get it out of your bag and actively try and keep yourself hydrated. Other downside that's not really relevant to the mountains, but when you try and drink out of these when someone else is driving and they accelerate or slow down too quickly, you end up with a face full of water. That's another story. But then we've got the hydration bladder, which is fantastic because it's super easy to keep drinking from on the move. You know, you can stick it in your mouth and you can continue to drink and stay hydrated. Downsides to it is you can't always monitor how much you've drank. So if you're guzzling away and all of a sudden you've got nothing left, it's like, oh, actually, I didn't realise how much I've drank, or you don't realise how little you've drank. Whereas when you're looking at a bottle, because you keep getting it out to drink from it, you can actually monitor how much you're drinking. You can obviously get your bladder out of your bag and have a look at it, but 9 times out of 10 it's slid down your actual back of your rucksack, and you're not going to do that. So if you are drinking from this, it is a good idea just to keep checking and seeing where you're at. One of the other downsides to this is that it could puncture, and if they puncture, then you're stuffed because you've got nothing to carry your water in. And I've had a few of these break at some of the joints, so they've just come away, the glue's just come away and soaked the inside of my bag, everything's got wet, and I've no longer had something to carry my water in. So ideally you want to have, if you've got a hydration pack, you still want to have a solid bottle with you, even if you have a small 500ml bottle or something like that, just in case that becomes damaged and you can't use it anymore. So that's water carriage. How much water should we take on the mountain with us? Well, that really does depend on what you're doing, how fast you've got to move, and how regularly you can stop to refill your bottle. If it's red hot and there's not a lot of streams around there, then you're going to have to take a fair bit of water to cover you for the day. If it's been pissing it down with rain and it's quite cool and there's loads of streams forming everywhere, there's running water everywhere, you don't need anything more than a litre really, do you? Because you can just, as soon as you've finished it, you can then just refill it from the streams and you're good to go. There's literally water all over in the mountains. Now, is it safe to just drink directly from a stream? Well, it really does depend, doesn't it, what's at the top. If there's a dead sheep at the top, then probably not. It's going to be full of bacteria and you're going to get a poorly stomach. How would you know? You wouldn't. So we try and just be really cautious by making sure that we actually purify whatever water it is that we're gathering. So what we could use is something like this, which is a water filter. And all you do is you actually fill the bag up with water, attach it to essentially this syringe, have a look at the flow, which way it should flow. Pop it in, open it up, open your bottle, and then you would squeeze the water down, and this would filter pretty gammy water. So you could get, I mean, if you're getting stuff from a flowing stream, it's going to be pretty decent anyway, but it's going to help to filter any crap out, any bacteria. So you're pretty much good to go straight from this filter. So straight into your bottle and you're good to crack on. If you wanted to be super cautious, you could use some purification tablets. These are really simple to use. Just bang them into a water bottle. So you could either filter it beforehand and bang one of these in, or you could just get straight from the stream, bang one of them in, and then after a certain amount of time, you're good to go. It usually says on there how many tablets for how much. So here, for example, we would need 8.5 milligrams of this tablet for the litre, and then you would need to wait for 30 minutes to be able to drink from it, because obviously you don't just want to neck a chlorine tablet whole. So you've got to wait for it to break down and actually do its stuff in the water. So those are two good options. And then obviously you can boil the water as well. So if you've got something like a jet boil, you can obviously gather your water, bang your jet boil on, bring it up to boil for 5 minutes, let it kill all the bacteria, and then you're good to go. Downside of that in comparison to something like a filter is if there's loads of little bits of crap in there, then it's still going to be in the water. Whereas using a filter, the bits of crap are going to be in the bag that you gather the water up from, so they're going to remain in the bag, and then the filter is going to clear out all that shit. So at the end, you're going to end up with nice clean water. Will it change the colour of the water? No, it won't. So if you're getting some water that's a little bit gammy and brown, you know, if it's fairly still, then it's still going to look that colour. And I've used this from rivers before, and the river water's been fairly brown, and it's come out brown, and you're just wondering, is this actually going to be all right? But it absolutely is. It's absolutely fine. You can filter it through and you're good to go. But like I say, if you're concerned, you can filter it and you can boil it afterwards just for double measure, and that will be absolutely fine to then crack on. And when you're obviously cooking, you're boiling your water beforehand, so you might as well, rather than use drinking water, go and gather some fresh water from a stream, boil it up, and then stick it in your food, rather than using your already clean and filtered water. So you can just double up with the gas then, so just boiling, purifying, and then stick it into a meal. But that's water and hydration really. Mega simple.